In this video, I'm gonna show you everything that I built during my first 6 months here. So this property has two buildings. This one being the main one, and then a smaller one right next to it. As you can see, they're both in pretty rough shape. Yeah, there's also all this land. I think it's around 2,400 square meters, something like that. Full of these beautiful, like old olive trees. And it's so fucking peaceful. It's actually crazy. As soon as I got there, I got to work. I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. I still don't. But I thought it would be a good idea to clear the path to the small barn. As I needed a place to use as a base, I thought the smaller barn would be a good candidate for that. So I started clearing that out. So this is my setup. I know it looks terrible, but it feels nice. It's actually quite cozy. I'm excited, man. I'm actually really excited. The first mornings were pretty rough. There was no such thing as comfort in this bit of land, but it was still pretty nice in its own way. Yes. Yes. These first days were a little uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie, but it was very gratifying and peaceful to be able to be doing this in my own little land. My dad is coming over and is gonna help me to try to start the process of redoing that roof.
Já posso deitar a terra para o chão?
Pode. This was one of the biggest things that I did in the farm in the early days. I needed to basically redo the whole roof for the small barn. I also took the time to make a hole for a little window. In the first weeks, I still didn't have any water on the land. So I was having to go to some little water fountain nearby to get some. Here you see me installing a water meter so that I can be connected to the water from the grid. Since there was no roof in the small barn, I moved to the big one. And trust me when I say it's really uncomfortable living in a place with a dirt floor. Really bad. Alright, so the toilet is done. It's dry.
I mean, I think it's a bit much to call it a toilet. It's basically a glorified poop bucket. It's literally, I don't know if you can see inside of there. Yep, that's a bucket. It's one of the buckets that I found in the other barn. You don't see it, so it's fine. And I like it. Okay, hallelujah.
Before this farm, I had basically zero building experience. So projects like this were very stressful for me to do. And I definitely made a lot of mistakes.
This thing is literally falling apart. Hey, look at that. Jesus. Round 2, got a new hammer. The other one was really messed up. Jesus.
Here you see me working on trying to install the first version of my little solar electricity system. I had never done this before. I was a bit nervous, but it turned out okay.
Alright.
It was definitely not enough, but it allowed me to power a couple of things, which meant that I could store the generator.
Look. Come on. Shibishka. Yeah, I got a cat. Oh my god.
This little cat was Shibishka, and she was the nicest little street cat I've ever seen. Unfortunately, she didn't stay with me for long, as she ended up leaving a couple of weeks later. was pretty scary to go through as big a storm as I did. I basically was not ready at all for the amount of rain that we got, and I even ended up getting some rain in my bed, which is not nice. With the roof of the barn finally covered up, I began the process of pointing the stone walls. This was a very lengthy process, but it was kind of satisfying. The idea is to basically fill up the cracks between the rocks with some cement and some lime plaster. After delaying it for months, I finally got to build the window for the small barn.
Oh, yes.
I had never done this before, but I'm
Damn,
quite
that's
happy
so
with it.
satisfying.
You can't imagine how proud I was of being able to build this little window from scratch. It was far from perfect. It is far from perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. Oh my god. Even the solar is soaking wet, which is really not good.
Capaz de me agradar a ideia de vir até aqui, sim.
Painting the inside of the small barn was really that cherry on top that made it look a million times better. After that, I was ready to start moving in. Obviously, it's still far from being done, but I've had enough of living in a dirt floor. finally I had a little place where I could sit back and try and relax for a little bit. I began digging the trench for the water connections to the small barn. Water and electricity. This was honestly way harder than it looks. Most of the soil is made out of rocks, so it was a lot of manual labor over a good couple of weeks. Even though that I mostly only recorded times when I was doing things, living in this little bit of land also allowed me to have a lot of time to myself, especially since I'm here alone. And that allowed for a lot of introspection, which I haven't really had much of in my life, so it was very, very good for a change. As I continued working on projects daily, I could really see my skills improving almost day by day.
Nice.
It was very satisfying.
Oh my god, yes! Yes, 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 yes.
As soon as I got the water connection done at the farm, the quality of life really, really improved. I was really getting sick of having to go to a little water fountain anytime that I needed water for either drinking or literally even mixing cement.
It's working. This is just a temporary solution.
And meanwhile, the trench digging, back-breaking work continued. A never-ending suffering and my demise. No, but honestly, this was really my least favorite thing to do. By far.
Cool.
It was also during these first 6 months that I got to plant my first ever tree. I didn't have a long enough hose pipe, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Wow. Whoa! I didn't think that would look so cool.
And at this point, it felt like I wasn't trying to survive anymore. I was actually just living here. It was very nice. If you remember the little solar system that I installed right at the beginning, yeah, that wasn't gonna be enough. So I'm building a little shed so that I can house the batteries for my future upgrades. This was the first actual little building that I built. And I think I definitely made a few mistakes with it, but I like the way that it looks. And it's been a good couple of months since I built it, and it's still standing strong. Looking back, I think it's pretty insane the way that this little barn evolved. The way that the whole farm kind of evolved, but especially this little barn. The way that it was when I got here and the way that it is looking like now. I don't know, I'm in love with it. And I can't stop talking about it. I can actually cook here with gas. And I don't feel like I'm wild camping in somebody else's land. I feel like I'm at home.